Ubisoft is finally officially shutting down their studios. And honestly, I would say this was very much expected at this point. They have currently shut down the San Francisco studio. And to a lot of people, this actually came out as a devastating news. Honestly, I think whatever they've done right now, this is eventually for the good of Ubisoft as well as for the good of all the Assassin's Creed games. Now, one of the employees at Ubisoft, Antonio, he's been always dreaming about, being a developer at Ubisoft, and he finally got the chance in order to join Ubisoft and be a developer and whatnot. And then finally his worst fear comes to life because Ubisoft closes the San Francisco studio today, and with it, my role over at XDefiant has been terminated effective immediately. Now, if you or anyone is hiring 3D riggers, please message me. I still love making video games. Apparently, a lot of people ended up losing jobs, and it seems like it's not really a good case in terms of, for those people who have been working in the company. But trust me, this is actually one of the best decisions that I think Ubisoft should have taken a long while ago, and they finally decided to do it. And that's because they are now officially shutting down XDefiant, the game which Ubisoft was saying that they were never going to shut down, and they're going to be supporting this game like how Call of Duty is basically getting supported. And to be frank and honest, I was always expecting this franchise to completely get shut down, but I don't know why it took them so long. I think it's been over a year since this game was launched. I think it's been over like 6 or 7 months since this game officially came out, and Ubisoft has made the announcement that exclusively Ubisoft XDefiant will be shutting down in June of 2025. The breaking news is that they're also firing 177 people as part of shutting down XDefiant, including closing 2 other Ubisoft studios. Now, one of the studios that we know is the San Francisco studio, which is officially now shut off. There is no more Ubisoft out there in San Francisco studio, and apparently they've even shut down another studio. And the news was in fact mentioned in an internal all-hands meeting today. The decision was made due to poor player numbers and a lack of player spending, according to sources familiar with the decisions of the sunset to the game. The Ubisoft Osaka and San Francisco are the 2 studios that have now officially gotten shut down, and 277 people have gotten their jobs lost. That's honestly sad because a lot of people have lost their jobs, and they will now have to go ahead and try to figure out where they can get new jobs in like new industries or maybe, new studios. Hopefully they get hired, but as of now, I think they're going to be facing a lot of issues because the season 3 will be the last entire season of XDefiant, with a skeleton crew maintaining the title until June of 2025. According to those familiar with the situation, Ubisoft will be updating XDefiant players on refunds for cosmetic items and other purchases at a later date. Now, Ubisoft in fact made an official announcement for those of you guys who have invested money in this game, like Battle Pass or cosmetic items and all that stuff. It's not really looking like good news because they're not exactly giving back money to players who actually invested in this game, because they're only refunding this money to like a specific group of people, which doesn't fall under all the players who spend their money on this game. Because this is what Ubisoft officially said on their official XDefiant Twitter page, where they said that thank you for the incredible support of dedication to XDefiant. So we are initiating the sunset process starting today, December 3rd, 2024. New downloads, players registration, and purchases will no longer be available. Now, the season 3 will still launch. However, they're still going to be launching it. Now, the servers will still remain active, and the game will fully be playable until June 3rd of 2025. Now, for those who have purchased the Ultimate Founders Pack of the game, you will still receive a refund, a full refund. In fact, the players who made any purchases within the last 30 days will also be fully refunded. Now, please note that processing these refunds might take up to 8 weeks. For more details on refunds, please visit xdefiant.com. Now, for those of you guys who spent money on XDefiant, you now need to go ahead into xdefiant.com and apply for a refund. I don't know what the process are, but apparently if you got the Founders Pack, you're going to get refunded. And also, if you have purchased anything within the last 30 days, only then you're going to be getting refunded. But then apart from this, if there are any cosmetic items that you purchased in the game, I don't think those things are going to get refunded. I'm not exactly sure, but as far as what Ubisoft has said so far, it does seem like only the last 30 days of purchases are going to get refunded. But what about the guys who bought the game way before last 30 days? Because this game has been officially up for the last, I think, 6 or 7 months, if I'm correct. And a lot of gamers might have invested a lot of money into this game as well. Not just Battle Pass, but also different types of skins because they've also been selling a lot of microtransaction items. Now, the developers at Ubisoft who worked on XDefiant, they had a few things to say. That the early response for players when XDefiant launched was amazing. And we broke internal records for the fastest game to surpass 5 million users. And in the end, we had over 15 million players who play our game. And that is something to be extremely proud of, especially considering how tough this genre is. Apparently, the game, in fact, was not a huge flop. It had a lot of players because 5 million players as soon as the game launched is like huge, right? That's like one of the biggest milestones. I think even biggest AAA games don't achieve these days because 5 million players is huge. And then they even went on and were able to get over 15 million players online. And that's just even more insane. And they've had their fair share of the game. And now they've decided, well, it's not my cup of a cake, and they've completely moved away from the game. And the reason why is because Ubisoft is not introducing or keeping interesting live updates because they're more over focused all about with Battle Pass and, selling skins, microtransactions, and that's the only thing that they've always been focusing on. And I think the reason why they even made XDefiant in the first place is because they kind of had this idea of how Rainbow Six Siege picked up real well, and they wanted to make another Call of Duty competition, which is kind of similar, fast-paced game. And apparently what happened here is that a lot of people were not spending enough money in XDefiant. They were not buying enough microtransaction items, no skins. They were not buying all these progressive items, which could basically boost your level, which basically served as these level boosters. So all of these things were not purchased. And this kind of just made Ubisoft wonder whether or not if our game is in fact going to succeed or not. So that's one of the biggest reasons as to why I think XDefiant is shutting down. And it's actually for good, because now that it's shut down, I think Ubisoft is going to be able to focus more on actual games that really work out. And they're also working on so many different remakes of Assassin's Creed games, new Assassin's Creed games. So I just think, this whole setback is actually going to take Ubisoft all the way back to what Ubisoft was before, where they're actually going to be focusing on games that really worked out. Because they're also working on Splinter Cells, something that fans have always been asking for all these years, which Ubisoft never really cared about. And I think it's finally time they kind of, focus on what really matters and what players want and what the community wants and what Ubisoft used to be. So if they go back to this, I think their business is definitely going to be booming. But until then, it's not going to be working out. I think it's a good choice that Ubisoft has made this. And a lot of people online have been speaking shit about how they've laid off a lot of, employees from their company and whatnot. But I honestly think that whatever they've done right now, it's good for Ubisoft and it's also good for gamers. But then it's bad for those who have been working as employees, for the developers. But apart from that, it's actually good news for us gamers that now finally Ubisoft is going to be focusing more on something that really matters for gamers as well as for the company's success and whatnot. It's good that, some of the unwanted studios are finally getting shut down. I think San Francisco studio is the one that even supported in developing Watch Dogs Legion as well as Watch Dogs 2. And the best thing that Ubisoft should currently focus on, in my opinion, is going to be Assassin's Creed and then Watch Dogs series and then Prince of Persia. Now, these 3 games alone is going to just make Ubisoft so much money, and even Splinter Cells. So let's add that one up and make it 4 in general. So 4 of these games are basically more than enough. Now, if they want to go in with a little bit of multiplayer or a co-op genre, they already have Ghost Recon. Those games are amazing. They can just stick to these ones and make amazing games and make new sequels to these games and just keep continuing what players love and what Ubisoft represents. And I think that's really going to do wonders for this company. So honestly, man, let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think, whether or not if this whole decision of shutting down the studio is good, or do you think that XDefiant should have probably run over for another year or so? Because right now, maybe you ended up liking the game, maybe not, I don't know. It's a huge mystery. So let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, with that being said, of course, I will keep you guys updated with all the latest gaming news on this channel. So make sure to go ahead, subscribe, turn the notifications on, absolutely free on YouTube, by the way, to subscribe. And if you guys want to support me as creator, it's always appreciated if you guys could just go ahead and drop a like on these videos. It really means a lot. It goes a long way. So thank you all for your insane support. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.